Hi folks, and welcome to your Gersnet immediate post-match reaction pod, brought to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering. My name's Alec Anderson, I'm speaking to you outside Ibrox in the immediate aftermath of Rangers' 3-0 mid-season friendly win over Bayer Leverkusen, a game most notable for being Michael Beale's first match as Rangers manager. What did we learn today? Quite a strange day all round. The very fact that we're playing Germans on a Saturday lunchtime at Ibrox is quite weird. Rangers were wearing the black kind of third strip with the blue piping. Bayer Leverkusen, they're wearing all white, which is strange for them. The crowds, you're lucky if there was anything over 20,000 here today. Ibrox was very sparse. It's snowing and it's sunny at the same time. Generally a kind of weird vibe. The very fact that we're in the middle of World Cup quarter-finals at the moment and there's Rangers playing a foreign team, it was kind of messing with your head all round. But the main thing was to find out how Rangers are cooking in their first few weeks of training under Michael Beale, and they look great. They look good. Beyond that, trying to learn what Michael Beale's going to do come Thursday night in his first competitive match under Hibs. The only against Hibs, the only real clue today, the only real certainty we got about that lineup was that our defence is struggling through injuries, exacerbated slightly by the World Cup, but mostly, like I said, Ben Davies wasn't on the bench, Connor Goldson wasn't on the bench, no sign of Suter. We had James Sands and Leon King, who, let's be honest, haven't been our most reliable or encouraging centre-halves this season. No harm to either of them. They've been played out of position and they've been played in really intense games when they're not first-choice centre-halves. But they coped really well today. Rangers looked great in the first half. There's a bit again back to the old school. We had Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara as the sitting two in midfield. I think it's a three-man midfield. You know, Malik Tillman being the more creative force going forward and getting the two goals. We're 15 minutes in and there's Ryan Jack rolling it out to James Tavernier in the right wing. He throws one into the box and there's Malik Tillman to put it away for 1-0, 15 minutes. 5 minutes later, James Tavernier corner from the right hand side, and Malik Tillman, already famous for his ability to get up in the air, is up to head it home. So we get a Bayern Munich player putting Rangers 2-0 up against Bayer Leverkusen, just to give the whole thing a big Bundesliga feel, which suits us fine because this is the fourth Bundesliga side that we've played in the calendar year 2022, and at Ibrox we've got a pretty good record against them. You also had Cholak playing up front with Rabbi Matondo. It looks like a 4-3-3, but I'm not 100% sure because it was so fluid, and that's, you know, one of the criticisms of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was his tactical rigidity. Well, then you had Cholak and Kent and Matondo kind of rotating so much that at times I was wondering if Ryan Kent was sitting at the head of a midfield diamond four. I don't really know. I would need to get a better look at the game. Maybe watch it on Rangers TV back to be sure of this. I'm not the most tactically astute in the world, but there was definitely something different happening up front, and as I say, it certainly seemed to be working. If you were thinking that was going to be the team for Thursday night, bit of a shock at half time. 7 substitutions, as I say, only the 4-man defence stayed the same. McLaughlin came in for McGregor in goals. Then you had Steve Davis and John Lundstrom replacing Jack and Kamara as the sitting two. Scotty Arfield come into the Tillman role. You had Alfie coming on, looking quite trim, but as I'm demonstrating, black is quite a slim in colour, the new kit on him. But he's looking quite trim, looking quite sharp. He's playing for Cholak. You had Scott Wright and Fashion Sakala coming on as well to play the kind of wider positions up front. Strange thing that happened with Fashion Sakala, a man who was subbed on, then subbed off in the Europa League final this year, is then subbed off again, but this time for Alec Lowry to come on in his place, and he did well, young Alec Lowry. I know we're all keen to see him developing into a new talent at Rangers, and he did quite well. We won a penalty, I think, with 5 minutes to go. No, I think 80th minute we got a penalty. Alfredo, as I say, who looked quite sharp, taking a nudge from the Dutch wing back and just hitting the deck quite easily. Got the penalty from a Scottish referee wearing orange. What else would you expect? Tav pings it off the goalkeeper's left hand post and it goes out for a by kick, but 3 minutes later Lowry fires a lovely ball into the feet of Alfredo Morelos, who back to goal, holding off a centre half, slips it to Scotty Arfield, who rolls it into the bottom of the net. A lovely goal, and just generally summed up the general sharpness of us today, even though we made, I think at the end up we made 9 changes. All I would say that we can tell in concrete terms, with so many changes, there's no way we can predict the team for Thursday night against Hibs in the competitive return to action. The one thing we can say for sure though is that the only option at centre half right now seems to be John Lundstrom could drop in. That is it. It's Sands and it's King, and looking like we're going to have young Adam Devine being played out of position. He was up against Moussa Diaby today. There's a good quality in that Leverkusen side. They're in the middle of the kind of mid-season break, the winter break in the Bundesliga, but they're sharp. There's a lot of Danish, Dutch, Burkina Faso and German internationals out there today. It was a quality side. Say Moussa Diaby, he's a graduate of the PSG school, French international, on the cusp of making it to the World Cup with them. This is a country we're playing a World Cup quarter final in about 2 hours time. So he did really well today, Adam Devine, and I hope he can continue that on Thursday night. And look, that's us playing Germans again. That's the way it's been going in 2022. The one thing I would say though, in kind of symbolic terms, Bayer Leverkusen, when Michael Beale and Steven Gerrard were under most pressure probably in their tenure as Ibrox management team, we had a strange break in the season through COVID. We played Bayer Leverkusen. They were the last team to play us before we went off for that strange break, and we come back and we won 55. We've had a strange break because of this Winter World Cup, which has never happened before, and there we've got Bayer Leverkusen turning up tonight. This time we beat them 3-0. Hopefully that's a great omen, but a better omen than that is that tomorrow night the main pod will be back. You'll have the OGs are back. You've got Colin Armstrong hosting, Stuart Weir will be guesting, and he'll be joined by young Dougie, who's barely in his mid-60s, so he'll be bringing the average age down for that one. I'll be back on Wednesday night to preview the Hibs match, and if you like your World Cup football, you can dip into the little World Cup pods that myself and Brian Archer have been doing. So there's more content on Gersnet these days than there was half-time substitutions today. Lovely talking to you folks, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.